Hello again. I want to talk about the distance formula. And the distance formula is d equals, let's start with that, the square root of the quantity x sub 2 subtracted x sub 1 all squared plus the quantity y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. And basically what this ties into is the Pythagorean theorem. And people will say, well, yeah, that's not true. Well, actually it does, and I'll show you why. So I've got a distance on this number line, but you can say anything you want. Like if I want to throw something from one side to the other, I calculate it by a distance. So let's say I throw it to the camera as fast as I can. I don't know how, well, the camera's like 7 feet away from me. Anyways, back I was going to say. So if I throw it, it's 7 feet. But if I throw it from up here to the camera, it's not 7 feet. So besides a horizontal distance, I have to account for vertical displacement. So, and it's not, if it's 2 feet up and 7 feet that way, it's not 9 feet total because it travels at a diagonal. So it's not 7, it's not 2, it's not 9, but it's more than 7 or 2 and it's less than 9. And that's why it comes into the Pythagorean theorem. Anything where you can calculate something from one aspect to the other and you can draw like a triangle, a right triangle, you can correlate with the distance formula. So here we go. I want to find the distance from this point to this point. And you can create yourself an imaginary triangle, either like this or like this. And I'm going to do this. Now, I'm not going to sit there and, do the Pythagorean theorem, but for this particular problem, you could do the Pythagorean theorem if you wanted to, which is actually what's so cool about it. But I'm not going to. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it to the distance formula. And here we go. This is x sub 1, and this is y sub 1, pardon me, and this is the first x and this is the first y because it's the first set of points I saw. If I saw this one first, then I would have made it like that. And it doesn't really matter. This is then x sub 2, y sub 2. Correlate the subs with each other. Now I want to find the distance from here to here. Now it's 4 spots this way, and it's 3 spots this way, which is coincidental because if you're thinking about the Pythagorean theorem, if it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 this way and 1, 2, 3 that way, then you should actually kind of figure out what it is if you're already familiar with that. But I'm going to go ahead and substitute it into the formula. So distance equals, now students tend to have a little bit of difficulty with this because they substitute into their calculator wrong. And as I said, I prefer you not using a calculator, but if you really feel you need it, then make sure you do it right. So x sub 2 is 1, then it's subtracted by x sub 1, which is negative 3, squared, plus y sub 2 is negative 1, subtracted y sub 1 is 2, it's all squared. Here we go. And I try to tell my students, just figure it out without a calculator. Just try it. It really does make it a lot easier. So 1 minus negative 3 is the same thing as 2 negatives make a plus. It's 1 plus 3, which is 4 squared, plus 1 minus 2 is negative 1, all squared. Wait, did I do that one wrong? I think I did. Negative 1. Oh, I'm sorry. That's why it wasn't working out. That's negative 1 minus 2. Pardon me. That's negative 3. My mistake. So that's negative 3 quantity squared. I was adding that up in my head really quickly before I was doing it and it didn't work. And why didn't it work? So distance equals 4 squared is 16. Quantity negative 3 squared is 9. If you just put in negative 3 squared in your calculator, you're going to get a minus 9. Helpful tip for that is that when you square this, they're always going to be just positive numbers. That simple. Distance equals square root 25, which equals 5 spots away. So you went ahead and did it. But the way to get the distance formula right is by practicing it and not making mistakes like I did out there. That was embarrassing. But that's an example of how to do the distance formula. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the midpoint formula. I'm going to leave the same problem up here to try to explain that as well. But with that said, have a good day for right now. Goodbye.